Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're here for the first time, please hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so each time I upload a new video you're going to be the first to come and watch. And if you're returning, welcome. It's your girl Lozennel. And before I get into what I want to talk about, I'll be talking about time and its characteristics. But before I get into that, I want to talk briefly about the Talented FC Football Club. And please, it's a training ground for your siblings, your young ones, and if you have a sibling who is into football and loves football and wants to be trained and wants to be selected or somehow in the future, this is a ground for them to come and train. I'm going to put in the numbers for you to contact them, and they're going to be a good help to that skill. I am one of those persons who is out there to make sure that people are empowered, and to empower people or young boys with skills like football is very essential. So one time we were talking about the essence of the gain one can get from becoming a professional footballer, and I think I should take that skill. Okay, but today I'm going to be talking about time. And time, I believe, is very important and empirical for us to talk about this. And I feel that not knowing what time it is or what time it is not good. And if we are not reminded about what time it is not good. And so I'm reminding you what time really is. And so when we were growing up, we were, I think, very excited when we were learning how to read the time. So when you're told that, go and read the time, what's the time? And you rush up to go and, it's 2:30, 2:15, and you are happy to say that. And so, but when you grow up and you start to check the time, you start to see that time is not waiting for you. If you're a worker in a company, you get to understand that in your contract there's a time written there for you to be at work, time to close, time for break, and all of that. And it has to be respected. If not, you receive sanctions, and sometimes they will give you warnings, and then if not, you'll be dismissed or sacked from your job because you did not respect time. And so all of us need to put that in our mind, because time is, as much as people don't look up to give you that warning that you are wasting time, you need to also be careful, because God is requiring of what you're doing with your time. Well, as much as you use your time for others in your company to help someone else's goals, you have to make sure to also invest time in yourself, in your own aspects, in your own things, in the things that your own goals. You have to make sure to invest time in that. So what is time? I define time as what you do now which will benefit you in the future and completely has nothing to do with the past. Now, if you want to go to the future, you have to forget about the past. Not forgetting like you don't want to learn the lessons of the past, but you need to concentrate on the future. So time is what you do now that will benefit you in the future. You have to think of time as a resource, a very important resource that must be seen as very vital. And without time, you can really not achieve anything. You can have air, but without time, you can be sick. You have air, that you're in a hospital and you're lying on your hospital bed and you're on injections and on drips. But if you don't have time, you will not be able to do anything. So on that hospital bed, you have air, but you can't do anything with your time there. You understand? When you use your time correctly, you are living. But if you don't use your time correctly, you're existing. So you have to also be careful. Even as much as you use time, you also have to be very careful with what you're using the time to do. Now, you have to invest time on things that are profitable. But if you invest time on things that are not profitable, you're just existing. First characteristics of time is that time is very important. It's a very important commodity. And the more you grow in age, you get to see that the time that you have is limited. But when you're growing as a youth, first of all, and you're investing time correctly, you will have more time in the future. But if you don't invest time now, when you're at 40 and you've not done anything, you start to look for time in extra places, and then your energy is not even going to be there. You need to invest time as a youth. A young lady, maybe during her school year, you have a lot of time to read, to study. When you're young, you're not married yet, you have a lot of time to study, a lot of time for God, a lot of time to cultivate your project, to start your project on your own. But when you get married, your responsibilities start to add. So now your time now has a lot of things included. So when you're young as a girl, you need to be able to invest your times on things that will profit you in the future, and not just lazing around. Because time will come when you have kids, you have a home to take care of, you have people to take care of, you have a lot of responsibility, your husband, you need to wash more clothes, and so you don't have that time. So while as a youth and you're single, make sure to maximize time. The second characteristic of time is irreversible. There's a saying that goes, time waits for nobody. The same water that you just in a stream that pass, you can't carry that same water. You will not be able to carry that same water. So you need to be able to maximize your time properly. And truly, if the time now is 2:15, today 16 July for say, and 2021, you will never have the same time again in life. And so if you don't use it correctly, you will never have the same time. So it's irreversible. If you like, you take your clock and put it back to the day 2020, and that's up to you. Your own time could be that, but for everybody, time goes ahead. It's not going to be waiting for you. Time is irreversible. You can't turn the time. It doesn't work like that. The same time frame you're experiencing today is never going to be the same time frame of tomorrow. And this totally works with most countries. Even there's some countries that are 3 hours ahead, some countries are 5 hours ahead of your own country, and so you cannot be saying that you want to use this time frame for this time frame. So please, time is irreversible. In Psalm chapter 90 verse 12, it says, teach us to realize the brevity of life, so that we may grow in wisdom. If you really want to know that you're wise, is when you use your time correctly, when you use your time wisely. The Bible says, teach us to realize the brevity of life. Time waits for nobody. Like, it waits for nobody. Teach us to know the brevity of life, so that we may grow in wisdom. Time waits for nobody. Also, time, you don't have control over time. You don't have control over time. In the course of time, the only way, the way is forward. The only way in the course of time is forward. There's nothing like you want to turn the clock. You don't want to go back to time. You want to correct things in the past. The only way is forward. And if you waste this time now, you don't have control over it. And the only person who has complete control over time is God. So you need to be able to know that one of the things that you're going to give account at the end of life is how you used your time. And so you have to be organized, you have to be flexible, you have to be prepared and realistic. You also have to be persistent and focused on your goals, so that you can be able to manage your time correctly. You're going to give account someday. So this is a time for you to think. It's a call for you to think about the choices you make and the time you use. Okay. And also get a watch for yourself, a calendar or a clock, and place it on your wall, so that you'll be able to look at the time and be reminded that time is ticking. What am I doing with my time? And that's one of the things that I hate about life. Like, honestly, if you ask me what I hate, I'll tell you that I don't like the ticking of the clock. I don't like to hear that sound, because in my head I'm like, what have you done now? What are you doing? And so it's a wake-up call for you to make sure that you're using your time correctly. I'm going to repeat what I said. When you use your time correctly, you are living. But otherwise, like if you're using your time wrongly, you're just existing. And hope this is a blessing to you, and have a wonderful week ahead. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and share this video. God bless you.